Okay, Pat, we're live. Welcome to our millions and millions of viewers.
Hey, Rick, how you doing? Let's roll it.
Well, you can hear that I've
Friday.
got the throat from hell.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to California.
Yeah.
These
Allergies.
fires, it's awful. And but it's not any better in Washington State, where I just came back from. My brother's house. They're completely socked in. All the fires in Oregon and California are going up around the coast and blowing in. But so I went to the doctor today, and she gave me steroids. And so next week,
You're gonna be, yeah.
the voice is back, and this arm is going to be huge. So, and we'd like to thank our sponsors, which are they on your sheet?
I don't think we have any.
I mean, that
I don't think we have any.
Explain why I don't have it written down there. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. I did a video a couple days ago that I called the shift. And the reason I did that was I've seen a few YouTube videos from realtors saying that they're seeing some changes in the numbers. And unless I'm missing something, I'm not seeing it. Every Friday that you and I meet, tell me which one of these numbers you think have changed. Today we have 8,260 homes on the market. Higher, lower? About the same, right?
It's the same, yep.
Yeah, 8,300 every Friday. Yesterday was the lowest available homes on Thursday, but I think it was just kind of a delay because of the holiday. But here we go again. For the week, we had 4,000 homes come on the market, and we had 3,966 go under contract. Now, the only number that I've seen that moved is that 3,966. That was rocking, excuse me, at about 4,400 on a weekly basis. So it's down about 500 contracts for the week. It's anybody's guess why that is. It could be just people just tired because they can't find the home they want, so they're just holding off. Or it could be what happens every 4 years is that we've got election anxiety in the market. You know, it's just everybody's fighting on Facebook. They're not looking for homes. So it happens every 4 years. People in September and October, they just kind of back away.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a little. So if there's anything that we've changed, it's that, and it's too small to say it's a shift. Oops, I almost kicked my camera over. That was clever. I got a GoPro sitting above here. I love it, and it's on a wobbly stick. So let me adjust here. So, okay, crisis averted. You almost saw my feet. So Pat, do you believe that unemployment's only 8% right now?
No, it's higher. There's definitely higher. There's ghost numbers everywhere. So, yeah, there's definitely more. I mean, obviously the census workers had 220,000 workers in that numbers last week, but I mean, that's just temporary. So, we're seeing numbers. I saw the articles, we talked about the article about, that article I sent you this morning about the foreclosures. They said they think there's going to be more foreclosures down the road based on, the forbearances, but the forbearances have been hanging steady. I mean, but to answer your question, no, the unemployment numbers,
yeah, Housing Wire painted a pretty potential bleak look, right?
Yeah.
Says, pandemic may lead to a foreclosure crisis. This is what CoreLogic says. Problem with CoreLogic is they also said we were going to be down 3% this year, or 6%. Then they came back and they changed that a month later. And so they're all over the map.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that most people don't understand is that these experts are not. I mean, you and I are Rick and Pat Schmuck, realtor and mortgage guy. Not Schmuck, but just realtor and mortgage guy. And I see these numbers all the time. The last 30 years, where these experts, they try to give you kind of as good of estimate as you possibly can, but people have a tendency to take these numbers, what they say as God, just coming out of God's mouth. And that's why you and I are trying to do a little daily, weekly dig into forbearances, the supply, the demand, interest rates, Yeah,
I mean, you have a pulse for what's trending and what's changing in rates. And if it's major, we're going to know every Friday. And I look at the inventory every day, and I'm just astounded at the consistency of that 4,000 level. I mean, it doesn't even go to 4,500. It's 4,000. It's kind of like, okay, next you put your house on the market now. No, you wait. Let's get these sold, and then you can put yours on next week. It's almost controlled, but it isn't. But it's hard to get my head wrapped around it. So, but one thing that I read that is pretty obvious is gone are the days when we wonder if the Fed's going to cut rates.
Yep.
I mean, we're not sitting around going, well, at the December meeting, are they going to cut rates? They've already cut them, and they're staying down. And rates have gone down a little this week, didn't they?
Well, they went down, but they purportedly they went down, but actually they went up because that half a point fee now is that the FHFA, Federal Housing Finance Authority, who oversees the government loans, like conventional loans, and basically the whole market. They said that it's going to be implemented on refis, the half a point. So anything December 1st. But now what's happening with these lenders is they're all so backed up. And this really stinks because, they said that the fee was going to be implemented, loans sent out December 1st. But since lenders are so backed up, these lenders now, the last couple of days, I'm seeing lenders saying if you don't lock by next week, your loan is going to be already have the half a point implemented into the loan. So they're so backed up that if they close, if you lock a loan today, it's taking 40 to 50 days to close a loan. So let's even, some lenders are saying, okay, 60 days, 60 days, September, October, November, your loan closes middle of November. Well, it's got to be delivered to the GS, it's got to be delivered out from the lender to the, in a mortgage-backed security market, it's got to be delivered by December 1st. So a lot of these lenders now are implementing the half a point right now, which sucks. I mean, it's just the refis is not for purchases, but they're saying it might be implemented for purchases as well. A half point on $400,000, $2,000.
Yeah. Well, did I read correctly too that said that some lenders, some lenders are raising the fee even on purchases?
Well, they're saying they're saying that's a potential down the road. They're not going to do it right now, but they're saying so bottom line is people are, the lenders, even though it's not going into effect December 1st, lenders are implementing it right now because lenders are backed up 40 to 50 days. It's taking 10 to 15 days out of underwriting for a refinance. Typically some lenders are, shorter, but it's typically taking, I say, I'll cut that back. It's probably taking anywhere from 7 to 10 days in underwriting to get your loan out of underwriting for refinance. So, and then it has a direct effect on purchases too, because lenders will raise their margins and their rates overall to, help cover for this, any fallout from this half a point, debacle that they have. So I think purchases are going to be affected. All boats rise with the tide. So if lenders raise rates, they're going to be raising rates on refis and obviously purchases a little bit more too.
And then when we say raising rates, I mean, we're not seeing it's still, it's just
no, we're talking.
Muy poquito, is that where it is? It's muy pequeño. I can't remember.
They said the lowest rate was last week was 2.89. Really, it's the low threes, 3.8. When you see, a low rate, that's like a survey that this federal rate monitor, they take a survey of mortgage people. So it's really kind of a survey of a couple hundred, probably 1,000 mortgage people. So they take a survey and they take the average rate. So that's how they say the rates. So that's why people call me and say, I saw the rates hit 2.8. That, that was just basically kind of a survey too. Because, lenders you've got rates across the board. You got tens of thousands of lenders out there, and you can't say, this is the one lowest rate, because you can always get the lower rate if you buy down a rate. So, they basically, that's kind of a skewed number too, because, is that a number buy down, or is it a par rate, or is it, there's a lot of factors that go into it. That's why, like when people call me for rates, what's your interest rate? There's so many factors that go into it. It's kind of a tough question to answer.
Yeah. What's the price for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Chandler?
Huh?
What's the price for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Chandler? Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. That's exactly it. So, bottom line is, I mean, unemployment numbers are, I think there's still something out there. I had a buddy of mine sell his, $1.2 million home. He made good money on it. Made about $400,000 on it, but he said he's going to rent for another year to see what happens with this market because he thinks there's something behind it too. But overall, it's been a strong market. I think rates, if they do go up, I don't think they're going to go up drastically. But if you go from 3 to say 3.5, 3 3/4, that's a pretty good sized jump, relatively speaking. So even though in the context of history, it's still low, but you got people. This is what I fear is that people are so used to rates at a 15-year term was at 2.5, and 30-year you can get 2 3/4 if you did a buy down, and if rates go up to say 3.5, 3 3/4, even 4%, which eventually it will, you're going to see a pullback in the market. I mean, people are going to say, "Oh my God, it's a 30% increase in the rate from 3 to 4." But it's still overall the picture is still strong. But I think that's when you're going to see maybe the shifting in the demand, the buyer demand too.
That'll change those numbers we look at every week. But we're probably months, if not years, out from that. But I saw. I asked you before we got going, what is the mortgage credit availability index? What does that mean?
It's an index that I put together one day, and I was sitting by myself.
Yeah.
And I just
more charts.
It sounded pretty sexy, so I figured I have no idea.
Does it have an acronym? Let's see, MCAI.
Basically, it's a mortgage credit availability index. Is basically the mortgage bankers. They put it together. It basically said that it is lending standards are tightening. I guess the index was at like 120.9. And basically before, everything happened, it was like at 181. So, I mean, I guess a lower index means it's tightening. I don't know what really goes in that index, but they said the credit's tightening because obviously the uncertainty that's looming in the job market, the health of the job market, and, the home sales. But there has been a further reduction in, obviously low credit scores. I mean, high LTVs. It's just, you have people, the underwriters are definitely documenting it a little bit further. They are tightening up more. The jumbo markets, they can tighten up. Basically, each lender can tighten up with their own overlays. Because I just had a lender that, basically said, I was working with last week that said anybody that she had told me, the underwriter said, we would get an overlay that if your credit score is under 660, your DTI cannot be over 50%. So if you have a credit, people say, well, I got a credit score 630, 640. You can get a loan, but if your DTI is too high, then it's going to deny you. So all these lenders have these internal overlays, and you can see with these internal overlays how they're kind of tightening. They just don't want to get stuck with a bad loan.
Well, and it wasn't a good week on the legislative front either because the Senate put together a bill, just called a mini bill, to send out unemployment and the next round of stimulus checks and some small business relief. It was small. It wasn't, 2.5, 3 trillion. And it was defeated across party lines. The Democrats said no. They want absolutely everything or nothing. And I was disgusted.
Yeah.
I mean, not to talk a lot of politics, but that has to make you mad. I mean, they have a bill. They want to give you a stimulus check. They want to help with unemployment. They want to help small businesses, but they didn't want to include, they even threw in another $10 billion for the post office. But all of the other pork projects that are in that bill, the Democrats are holding that relief hostage until they get all that other stuff in there. And this has to stop. And the Republicans have dug their heels in on some things too. So this second round of stimulus was supposed to come out in July. And, now it looks like, I don't even know if you're going to get it in October. And so, that's where we have more added anxiety with investors and lenders.
Yeah. I think you got more addicts, you've got a lot of confluence of a lot of different, the politics obviously are probably going to play, much more this year than any other year, because you got the riots, you got, racial tensions, not to get political, but this is all going to certainly play on the minds of people who are looking to buy a home or sell a home. I mean, people are looking to sell a home, any type of uncertainty like that. It's like, okay, I sell the home. Where do I go? Unless they got a job, that they have to move to. So there's a lot of angst out there, and it just sucks that the politicians, Republicans and Democrats, are playing games with, people's lives, which I'm really frustrated about that, because you see these small business owners that are just, it's pathetic. It really just irritates the hell out of me, because they're playing with people's lives, and that's
I did it again.
So. They're playing with people's lives, and you're playing with the camera. But it's just frustrating. I mean, it's like this half a point fee on refis. This is just a money grab. This is just a money grab by the government sponsored enterprise. The FHA, a half a point. The adverse market fee. They're just trying to capitalize their own pocketbooks because they're supposedly going to have an IPO. They're trying to split the government-sponsored enterprises, the conventional loans, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They're trying to get it off separate from the government, but I don't think they'll ever separate. I mean, it's too big of a entity to separate, not separated from the government, because I think you do need government controls.
So they're trying to get more cash flow to make it look better, so they can get a higher price.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm reading. So I mean, they're playing a game with people's pocketbooks. This half a point is just BS. It's gonna, in the scheme of things, in the overall picture, if somebody needs, if they're at 4.5 and they need to refi, it is okay. You got a $400,000 loan, it's $2,000, but in the big picture, if you look at the big picture, it's all going to wash out, and that this big, half a point is going to wash out, and in the relative big picture of things is going to seem, I hope it doesn't hold people back.
Yeah, they've got to do something soon, and especially on state levels, we need some businesses to open up. I still can't understand why it's okay for bars to open up if they sell food, but just a regular bar they can't open. Am I less apt to spread COVID if I have a burger? I mean, I don't understand but I'm not in those meetings. I don't get it. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. But, I went out to Washington State a couple of weeks ago to help my friend get an Airbnb ready. And they got it all done. It looks spectacular. It's way out in the middle of nowhere. And people have asked me what the rental business is like, vacation rental. And up there, it went live 2 days ago. They are almost completely booked for the month of September. Wow. It just went live. And I mean, he is tickled pink. He called yesterday. He was so excited because they thought maybe the people would start slowly booking, and it just went bam, 2 weeks. So that's he's going to have some damn good cash flow on that thing. And he plans on using it for 3 years before he retires. But if it keeps turning green like it is now, he may never, he'll probably keep that thing going and go get a trailer. So.
Yeah. Exactly.
So do that. Well, Pat, I know you got a bunch of stuff to go, and my voice has probably got about 2 minutes left in it. There was one other interesting thing that I read too, just to put out there, that the cost of borrowing by the government has fallen to a 75-year low. The cost of our debt is only 1.1%. Hasn't been that low since World War II. Wow. So we're seeing big numbers in debt, but the cost to borrow that is the lowest it's been in 75 years. That's why the market is not panicking about the debt.
Well, it's like the homeowners. I mean, homeowners can buy now a $400,000 home at 3%, whereas before they were buying a $275,000 home at, say, 6%. So.
And then the Fed says that they want to see inflation, and they're going to put their their foot to the pedal and push as hard as they can to get inflation, but they've had a 2% target for a decade now and haven't even come close to it. So, and that gets into a whole debate as to how they measure inflation. I don't get it. Doesn't make sense. I know my groceries have gone up, buying a house gone up, you know, gas has gone down, but
it's gone up.
And they say we're not even at 2%. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So we're being monkeyed with. So,
well, I think overall the rates have been, like I said, just to cap it up. I mean, the summary is rates have been kind of stuck in a range this last week. I mean, they look like they're going to bust out. They said there's upside to the bond prices, which means rates are going to go a little lower, but people are refinancing right now. It's like I said, this half a point is being baked into, you know, lenders. It's going to start in the next week and a half. There's still some lenders out there that don't have that baked in yet. But another quick shout out. I want to give a shout out to our friend Jill. Heard from her email last night, and just want to hopefully she's watching. I just want to say hello and hopefully she's doing well.
Yes, yeah, she had an HOA question. They're hammering her, wanting to know if she's old enough to live there. So they don't think she's the owner. It's like
she's a great woman.
Yeah, yeah. So I
told her I give her a call. I gotta give her a call here soon.
She's a hoot. So, all right. Well, thanks to our millions of visitors. 1,000,009 right now, Pat.
Good.
Of which 9 are real, and we continue to make up the million. And you know, you never know. Next week we might have a sponsor because I don't see one here.
Maybe I'll tell my owner of my mortgage shop, Price Mortgage, to sponsor us.
We can get Lister Pros to do it for us. I'm pushing.
All right.
Stuff, so, all right. Take care. See ya.